Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder. A lot of news hitting around here. If you haven't seen, there's a big, very interesting piece on a significant CEO who lives in Rhode Island, former venture capitalist, and how he sort of unveiled some of the issues in youth sports and some of the complexities and some of the outrages. Take a look at that feature. But I don't want to delay. It's the best part of the week. It's Mott and Chace time. It's Robert Rutley. And he's one of our absolute favorite guests. Robert Rutley, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Okay, Robert Rutley, you know everything about real estate. We've got more complexities in the real estate market than maybe any of us have seen in our lifetime. We have this sort of dual-edged sword. On one side, housing prices continue to climb about 10 to 15%, by month, year over year. Median price of a single-family home is around $385, $390 in Rhode Island, depending on which of the last 2 months' data you want to look at. Then jump over to rentals, and there's no rental units available. Developers and property owners are saying they are full. There is no vacancy available, certainly in the Metro Providence area, and rents are climbing like crazy. Talk about this. How is this changing the perspective of buyers, how they look at this market, and instead of, oh, just go rent for a year and wait it out for a little while, this gets super complicated, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. You know, last year we were talking about the great COVID migration, how people were reevaluating their lives and really looking to see where they wanted to move to. So we had this early influx of people that were, not particularly risk adverse, that would, buy homes sight unseen or travel and look at 2 or 3 houses and really jump in and move to, Providence or other places in Rhode Island. I think we're moved past that, and now we're still dealing with people that are thinking about their lives and how they change and how they want to continue and where they want to live. And I think it's still part of that great COVID migration. It's just the tail end of it. I think for the most part, people are feeling super comfortable now about moving, selling their homes, buying new homes, except for the one thing that, about 50% of the population, they don't like to take risks. And when you're in a situation where a house that comes on that may or may not be turnkey and may or may not be priced right, are they able to make a jump within 72 hours to put an offer on a home? Probably not. However, Freddie Mac says that we need about 3.8 million homes in the United States just to make up for the housing that everybody needs. That doesn't have to be single-family homes. It doesn't need to be multifamilies or condos, but it can also mean rentals. So right now what we're seeing is that rentals are really hard to come by. Everything is renting really quick. We are getting multiple offers on the very few rentals that we support, and there is a constant request for rentals when they're listed. So it's a tough situation, for people looking for housing across the board.
Robert, talk about, I think most people understood that in the heart of the pandemic, that sort of March of 2020, maybe all the way through to the spring of this year. Listen, I've got to be patient. This is a complex. Kids aren't in school. People aren't going to college. People are working from home. I can't change the environment single-handedly. I need to be patient. But at the same time, we had another child, or we got married, or whatever the change in life took place, and I need a place to live. Now we're 6 months past that period. Things have reopened for the most part. The economy is beginning to, revitalize. I can't find a place to live. I can't find a place to live. I have money. I am credit worthy. I have equity. I may not be a cash buyer, but I can't find a place to buy in any kind of reasonable price framework that I'm aware of. And coupled, now I can't find a place to rent. Single family, we're not talking pristine. We're talking single bedroom rental units, $2,200 in not the best neighborhoods of Providence.
Right. I think you can separate people from into two groups: people that absolutely need to move, whether it's here, coming to Rhode Island for work, and people that want to move. We're not seeing a lot of the people that want to move because there's not really any place to sell their place. If they sell their home, there's not really any place guaranteed that they're going to find. Last year we were giving people opportunities, to sell their home because they're going to make a lot of money. And here's some of the things that you can do. Why don't you rent a summer home in the southern part of Rhode Island, take an extended vacation, or rent something smaller for 6 months to a year. So a lot of these things are not even in the game anymore. So if somebody sells their home, where are they going to go in that meantime before the house that they want comes up? People that are specifically looking for a certain type of home and they're well qualified don't have a lot to choose from. It's the people that really have to move that are out there right now, and looking for homes. And some of them are well qualified. Some of them are not looking in the high end and having a little more of a challenge. But there are neighborhoods that works. I've had a specific client that came to Rhode Island from another state with a specific neighborhood in Barrington in mind, and nothing has come up in that neighborhood over the past 6 months. So instead of sitting here and waiting, they bought a smaller home on the east side, and they waited a little while longer. And when nothing came up, they figured they couldn't live in this tiny home that they bought on the east side, so they just purchased a larger home. These are all temporary fixes until they actually get to the place that they want to live, which is in Barrington. So, I mean, there's lots of different scenarios, and if you've got the funds and the capability of doing that, it is kind of a headache to purchase 3 homes before you actually get to where you're at. But this is the kind of thing that people are doing and maneuvering in order to get to where they want to live.
Robert, that person, listen, a significant segment of the home buying market has always been that first-time home buyer. And
Sure.
Their incomes are generally not matured, and hypothetically, they're 30 years old. They both make $75,000, not insignificant in Rhode Island. They have a household income of 150 combined. What do they do? Where can they go?
Well, I think there's a large segment of what was called high earning, not rich yet, and they're millennials or younger, that are going to be eventually going to be wealthy. Perhaps they're making $100,000 a year in each, but a lot of people are renting. A lot of people are holding into condos right now. Condos are kind of a good midway point instead of a single family home. And people are looking farther out from where their core neighborhood choice would be. So, I mean, we've seen it this last year. Elmhurst, which has been a great buy in Providence for the past, 5, 10 years, with a good quality of life and fantastic houses and yards, and just good community. It blew up this year because of the housing crisis that we have. As it is right now, I think there are more there are more homes under $500,000 in Elmhurst that are on the market than any of the other tertiary neighborhoods of the east side.
And then, can they get in there? Are they competing with cash buyers from elsewhere and all the horror stories or the profiles of those that are scooping up so much of the available real estate?
Absolutely. I mean, there's still competition. The thing is, right now, there's only 13 homes on the east side that are for sale, and about half of those are $1 million plus. So that creates a challenge for a huge segment of the population who wants to live in the key neighborhood in Providence. Those people are migrating over to tertiary neighborhoods: Elmhurst, Edgewood, Rumford, and other places. But it's not that there's a different demographic as much as people are shifting their focus and trying to find a home in Providence, no matter where they can.
Of those 13 homes on the east side, I don't mean to throw you one of those trick questions that,
Sure.
Who's the prime minister of Pakistan kind of questions. But do you know how, of those 13 homes on the east side, what is the lowest priced one?
I think 385. So there are two homes under $500,000.
And do you know whereabouts they are?
I think there is one on, I believe it is on Doyle Avenue. It's a small corner house that needs quite a bit of work. It's not turnkey.
Gotcha.
And the highest priced home is $6.9 million.
I know. Listen. I'm still eyeing that. You can let Heidi know that I'm still interested. Heidi Farmer is the listing agent on, arguably the most spectacular home available in Providence. Matches up with William Street, 66 William Street, that Heidi, I think, did the deal on a couple of years ago.
Sure.
But the one on the corner of Blackstone and Rochambeau is an amazing piece of property. Let's go to your crystal ball. Where do you see things fleshing out?
Here's the thing. Interest rates are going to increase this next year, and I think that's going to provide more challenges for people to purchase homes at the higher end. And I don't think that's going to mean that less people are going to be able to buy. I think it's going to mean that there's going to be a little bit of tapering off of prices. So as I've said in the past, consider the market in the past 2 years as being on that on-ramp when you're getting on the highway. In Rhode Island, maybe this doesn't happen as much, but in most other places, you use the on-ramp to speed up onto the highway, and then you get to speed and you kind of you stay there. So I think the last 2 years have been that on-ramp speeding up to get into traffic, and now we're at a steady pace, at a speed limit. However, I think that with interest rates going up, it just means less people can afford as much, which is going to bring prices down because that competition that's going to blow up prices is going to be a little bit less. So when there's less competition, obviously homes do not sell for as much. There will always be the outliers. Homes that are overpriced, that somebody's still caught in the buzz of competition, whether they're in competition or not, and overbid or paid full price for something that's not worth that full price. So that still happens. But I think that we're looking at more of a cyclical seasonal cycle. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, that was well done. Yeah.
But spring is our hot market. Things usually slow down after July 4th. They come back up in the fall, and then winter's a little bit slower. So I think that's what we're going to see in this next year. I think next spring is going to be huge again, and it may play into the summer, but it will slow down as people, get sick of their kids and take vacations, or the kids are away out from school and they go to Disneyland. So there's going to be, it's going to be more of a seasonal cycle again.
Robert Rutley, you're sort of that, great guide to people. For people's mental health that are buyers, and they've had so much frustration over the past few months, and they may have been at this for a year off and on, calling you up, calling others up and saying, get me a house, 4 offers later, I'm going to take a month off, I'll be back in touch with you. How do you help them sort of work their way through this process?
Well, it really depends on the personality type. I had clients over the past year and a half that finally purchased a home after 9 offers. They were people that were really thoughtful and needed all the details and all the information. So those people are having a little more of a battle, like I mentioned at the top of this conversation. But there are people that are risk takers. That really want to purchase something, and a good agent can match that energy and that skill set.
Robert Rutley from Mott Chace, thank you as always for your insights and what's going on in the Rhode Island real estate market. You are that calming, cool, collective voice that I think makes people have some level of security. For everybody else, stay tuned. We're going to have folks on from Moses Brown talking about some of the transformations going on in that East Side Preparatory School. And then at 1:30, Dr. Michael Fine will be on to talk about both vaccination for children and how that plays and mix and matches with masking for children in schools. I think that's an interesting discussion, and whether or not there will be a trade-off at some point. For everybody else, stay healthy, stay safe. If you haven't been vaccinated, don't be Aaron Rodgers. Don't be that guy. Get vaccinated. If you've already been vaccinated, start thinking about a booster shot. Stay safe, stay healthy. We appreciate you tuning in. Stay tuned for many more updates throughout the day here on GoLocal Live. Thanks, everyone.